Hello, I'm Sheila with The Grateful Goddess, and with me today is BJ Galvin. She is a yoga instructor extraordinaire and has all kinds of things that we'll get to in just a minute. I wanted to introduce you to this Goddess of the Month because she fits all 5 of the categories that I help women in creating their most joyful life. And I define joyful life with the 5 things: having optimal health, financial well-being, peace of mind, living in a state of gratitude, having great social connections, and living her life purpose. So tell us a little bit about your life purpose.
My life purpose. Since I was a little girl, I always just wanted to be a mom. You know, like I literally was kind of a mother to my little sisters, and then, you know, it was the first thing I did out the door out of high school. You know, I was very young when I had my first kids, and, you know, completely devoted my life to, you know, raising children. And then when I stepped on the yoga path, when I was just about almost 40, I found a new way of discovering, you know, who I was. I remember going to a second half of life program by Angela Sarian. And it was up in Sedona, and there was about 100 people, and I was for sure the youngest one there, because I was like kind of ahead of the game, and my kids were growing up and out of school, and I was like, what am I going to do? And I just continued on my path of yoga and found a way of sharing, you know, this the energy of our essential nature through the yoga, like discovering, you know, the essential nature that it's not outside, that it's within, through the yoga to students. And so in a certain way, you know, in a different relation, I mean, in a mother relationship with my students. And so, you know, I just feel like my purpose is being able to share what I love and my wisdom, and you know, wisdom is knowledge based in truth and applied, and
but it's your inner wisdom. It's
my own. Yeah.
And what I'm hearing in your story is that the way you found your life purpose was by following what you needed for yourself.
Exactly.
And then you ended up sharing it with others because others needed it as well. But first it was first seeking, what do you need for your own fulfillment? Exactly.
It's what learning to put myself in the conditions where I can thrive, not just like survive, you know, from day to day, figuring out how to pay the rent and stuff. You know, it's like I actually feel like I can thrive, and, you know, every day is like a new beginning, like, oh my God, what's the magic that's going to show up today?
Yes.
You know, and who's going to show up, and all those things. And that's what I feel like I'm thriving.
And I'm so inspired by the fact that you didn't even discover yoga for yourself until you were 40.
I know, and people are like, they always say that. However, I mean, I did do yoga when I was a little teeny girl with my mother.
Sure.
Like, that was my first exposure to it, and then of course it was gone. And I always had a certain connection to the invisible world, you know. And I was a teacher. I taught, you know, I was in training, physical training and aerobics, and things where I could use my physical body, because we are this vessel. It's our temple that we live in. And especially for women, I feel like, and for me, when I say we, I always mean me. So it's we and me. But I noticed that it's not just you know, we're all kind of together in this. That's how I access my wisdom, is through the physical body. You know,
Right.
I mean, it's like you don't cut it off. It's like it's all one, heart, body, and mind. So.
And that's so true. I see that so often, where women disconnect from their body and they live in their head.
Yeah.
And that is sad.
It is sad, and it's part of their process, and that's like what fills me so much when they come and they're like, yeah, I heard, you know, maybe yoga would help me with stress and stuff, and all of a sudden they just like open this whole new door that's always been there.
Right.
And you know, and they start to discover that, oh, it's not really out there, it's right in here.
Yeah.
Actually, that's another piece that is so strong in my world. Like, I was lucky enough to grow up in Arizona in the desert, so I had nature it was always connected to nature and sunsets and sunrises and the desert, and reconnecting with our natural rhythms, to the natural rhythms and the pulsation of the earth. I mean, it's the feminine energy, and that's actually where we connect to our source, you know, and like getting quiet. And I watch the moon every night. I always know where the star, you know, what's going on in the heavens, and you know what seasons we are, and how to, like, actually physically we are attuned to the cycles of, you know, the full wheel of the years and seasons, and you know, it's we're not disconnected, you know, and that's how we reconnect to our source. How I do.
And then talk a little bit about what you said in terms of you're not just surviving, you're thriving. Because I have heard yoga instructors say before that teaching yoga is like an oath of poverty or something along those lines, in terms of, because
that's a strong belief that I don't want to hold.
Exactly. So I'd love to hear how you don't see it the same way, and within the sort of the abundance in which you do yoga, because it's not just here. Tell us a little bit about where you teach and how you go about it.
So I'll start with the belief.
Yes.
You know, very young, I think I was about 14, and I was jumping on a trampoline, and my boyfriend at the time from camp, who were still friends, I was jumping really high, and he was watching me, and I said, oh, I don't want to go too high and have an accident. And he said, there are no accidents. I was like, I stopped immediately, and I was like, what? You know, and he had given me this invitation to, like, look at what I was thinking and saying, and a belief that I was holding, that, oh, you know, these random things happen. So that was the beginning of learning about belief systems, that there are kind of operating systems that we operate in the world from. So, you know, like a computer or something. And so I feel like the belief of an oath of poverty or whatever, you know, even in many spiritual realms of teachers and stuff, even from many lives ago, you know, they would take oaths of poverty. And it was to not have attachment to material things, because there was this belief that that would block our connection to spirit or source or goddess, universe, whatever you want to call it.
Exactly.
And so that is a belief system that is not something that I want to hold. And I've actually worked very diligently on creating a new belief system that is based on, you know, nature, that nature is abundant. Like, the earth has everything we need. There is enough water and food and love and shelter for every single person on this planet, and that is the truth. And so, you know, part of the belief system of abundance, and I always remember one of my teachers said, it's like abundance. You know,
I have an abundance groovement.
Oh, okay. Yes. Okay, so, you know, the abundance.
Yes, I get
it. So part of being able to fully step into holding, you know, all of our dreams and the physical things and fullness that is thriving in life is being able to hold those things that we do have now. Does that make sense? And being with gratitude.
Yes.
So that the experience of lack or not having, and the experience of having, you know, an abundance, it's two polarities on the same stream of physical material reality. And so,
and when you're playing over here in appreciating all that you have, that expands. If you are over here saying, but I don't have that, you're getting
that expands.
Exactly.
So, you know, and it's there. Yeah, that's what I feel like. There's and there's so many ways and so many teachers out there right now, and that are actually teaching ways of, you know, in different modalities of shifting our perspective, so that we don't have to constantly be living in, like, oh, I don't have enough, I'm just barely surviving. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So
first it started with somebody just opening up your awareness that it could be different than what you thought. And then from there, were there specific things, or was it just affirmations and things that helped hold you steady to what it is you wanted, rather than the lack of having what you wanted?
Yes, learning to shift my perspective, and for me, it was, all the right teachers and all the right things happened. And even when I was very young, I had this like some internal faith or belief that, you know what, I'm part of something bigger and that everything happens.
Yeah.
And I don't mean for a reason, because that I feel like is a certain, immaturity. Does that make sense? Like, you can't say that everything happens for a reason to somebody who's just lost somebody they love, even though maybe on the bigger perspective, this is a truth. So that I was able to trust that all the right people, all the right experiences were in my highest good, and I could take those, and this is like when I was even a teenager, I could take the opportunities, even the things that maybe we don't like, and shift them into, okay, how do I use this for my soul evolution and betterment, like instead of something as a victim or blocking. Learning how energy and those things work, vibration, the power of thought.
So it's just a process, and the right teachers always appeared when the student was ready.
Exactly.
And so it's just following along in the process and believing that everything is conspiring for your highest good.
Exactly. Co-conspiring with the universe for the best, and knowing that I am a player in it.
Yes.
That I'm not like just like this random victim being thrown around on this ocean of embodiment, and some days the waves are good and some days they're bad. Just actually learning how to surf life.
Yes.
Ride the waves of life.
Yes. Sounds like you are living your dream life. Do you want to describe your life a little bit for us?
I am, and it's so funny because, I am living a dream life. And I actually remember consciously creating, this vision, having this vision of what I wanted, and here I am. And there's always more. That's the beauty of life.
Yes.
And that is the nature of the universe, that there is always more. So, as I live it now, I got swept up in this beginning wave, of yoga and the style of yoga that I teach, which is Anusara, which means, the in the flow, or in the greater flow, or, the soul and the spirit, that we're not separate. And so I fell in love with it, and I remember going, and the philosophy that holds the physical practice, resonated with me so much. I'm like, everybody needs this. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, yes.
And I really believed that, I wanted to be able to share this around the world. And I remember in 2005 in Tucson, after training with my teacher, writing, I want to be traveling the world teaching this yoga and sharing it all over. I feel like this philosophy, the study of truth and the physical practice, is a way that people can awaken that they are part of something greater, and that they are co-creators with this energy that is, we always have access to. We don't need somebody else to tell us how to do it. Maybe somebody else can, show us, like, here, look here, and then, people have the choice to look or not. And it's really looking into our own heart. So my life right now, I travel. I've been to, I don't know how many countries: Europe, Latin America, Mexico, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, US, teaching, Asia, teaching yoga. I travel. There's been a few years that it was like a little bit too heavy, even India. But I am gone maybe 2 or 3 weeks a month, and sharing what I love. And every time I sit down, and I'm just like, I'm grateful to my students. I'm like, I should be paying you. I love this so much. You know what I mean? And my students are actually my greatest teachers. So, when you said, when the students are ready, the teacher arrives, it's the same way. When the teacher's ready, the students arrive. And so it's this pulsating back and forth that I love.
And I love that you were so deliberate in your creation of your vision, because that's what I do. I teach vision board workshops.
Yes,
and
exactly.
And because it's such a great first step to launching what it is you want to create, and then in terms of coaching, oftentimes that's just helping people hold the vibration of what they really want, because it's easy for them to doubt or discount it. And when you have somebody
feel
that helps
small.
you, yes. As you mentioned, this is what your life is in this moment, because it's what you've created. What's next?
So what's next? I'm, the method of the yoga is still true, and the school of yoga has shifted. So I've been co-creating with, the energy and a bunch of amazing people to, heal the way that the system, the business system works. And it's actually going towards, and it is, a more collaborative, feminine way of working, where it's collaborative as opposed to more of a masculine, hierarchical way, where it's it takes longer to have things happen. However, everyone it's the voices are heard. It's very cool. So I'm participating in that and still helping, teach and plant seeds of this love and truth and wisdom, around the world. So I'm still doing that. I've been working on some priestess. It's like a Celtic shamanism. It's a priestess path where, fully embodying and holding the vibration of, grace, wisdom, love, and service as, kind of a portal from for the unseen into the visible. I feel like as I step more into the stage of, the goddess or the feminine energy as the crone or the wise woman, eventually I'm going to have to not travel so much, but while I love it still, I will still do it. I feel like as long as it's bringing us pleasure, and, it still feeds me, and I don't mean feeds me just with cash, but like feeds my heart, I'm still going to do it. And the other thing that feeds my heart is natural childbirth and helping support other women, younger women, obviously, in their path of going from the maiden to the mother in a way that is aligned with nature. I think I'm going to be going down that path back into birth and bringing, guiding women and men back into their power of their source.
And so it's not outside.
So more to be.
Thank you.